endangered languages Pakistan by UNESCO Atlas of World Languages and Endangered published in 2010. You know that before 2004, before 15 years, there was no writing system for Torwali. There was no orthography for Torwali. It has been an oral language, although it is still mostly an oral language. So when we started our work for the revitalization of this language back in 2004 and 5, what we started with our preliminary research and advocacy in the communities and the community which speaks this language so as to prepare them. And then the advocacy for the linguistic rights and change in the community attitudes towards their language. And we started with the community to regard their language as part of their culture, part of their identity, and part of their ethnicity, because by this way, one can change the negative attitudes of people who speak endangered languages towards their language. So after that, we try to find out a small group of people who can support the work of documentation and promotion and then revitalization of the language. So we formed this organization, which is known as IPT, Dara Brai Talim Tarakki. And you know that our approach is not focused on only one aspect of the language, because we know that language is never neutral. So it is integrated with many other social, political, and cultural domains. So that's why we have been trying to increase the prestige of the community and the language among the dominant community as well by using popular media, by using networking with the people, by using public forums. And in other, as you know, that our organization is mainly focused on the empowerment, and language is one of that tools. So we also try to train the younger people and entrepreneurship, and especially the area is known for tourism. So we also try to promote tourism among the people that they might have some means of livelihood. And again, the other issue, you know, that political and social aspect of any endangered language is very important among the dominant community. So here we have been trying to make these people more powerful in terms of politics and social system. These were these were the overarching and overall approaches we have been operating within. But when we come to the practical usage of the language, so we developed a system, MTB, a Bali system, mother tongue based multilingual education system, so as to use the language for in educational materials, in education for the new generations. And along with that, for the larger society, for the larger literate society and illiterate society, we have been producing literature in book form as well as on social media, in YouTube channels, etc. And for that, we also developed some keyboards to be used for the writing of Torwali language on social media. So I will briefly talk some of the important points, important action points we have been doing for the revitalization of the language. These were the few efforts we have been doing since 2004 and 2005. I've already talked about those things, so I will go ahead to present a brief introduction of each of not every point of this, but of some some most important points. So among the most important point is I told you that the educational program of Torwali language. So we established mother tongue based multilingual education programs in the community where the children started their education in their own language, Torwali, and after that, Urdu and English languages uh, were added to their teaching materials. And we started the first school in 2008, and now there are such four schools in different locations of the Torwali speaking area. Where one of these schools is now in grade third. So this is the most successful and most effective tool of language revitalization because it is focused on the new generation, and it is focused on producing materials of the national language to be used in education domain. And in addition to this program, we have also motivated the the state-owned school teachers to instruct the students in the Torwali language, and that is going on. So this is some pictures of the Torwali courses we have developed for the children. This is the MTP MLE model. There are literacy subject and then the non-literacy subject. And literacy subject, you know that teaching writing and reading of the Swahili language through graded reading stories, listening stories, writing primers, etc. And non-literacy subjects, basic mathematics, cultural studies, counting books, ethics, social studies, and Torwali rhymes, etc. So this is the pedagogy we use. You know that there are the teaching system we have been applying for teaching this Torwali language at these MTB MLE school is, you know, that we have this lesson planning for an entire week. We have one theme is focused for each week, and around that team there are six different topics, which each topic has its own reading and listening stories, and then these are connected with the overall other non-literacy subject as well. And for the literacy subject, we use the primer, the alphabet book, the transitional grammars, and these other such kind of things. So you know, this is I think I we should go into detail this time. So you know, there are 34 reading stories for 1 year, 33 listening stories for 1 year, and the focus of this story track is on meaning, on conceptualization, on comprehension, while the primary track is mostly focused on correctness and accuracy, how to write, how to spell different words, how to make a word from the sound, and then how to correct the sound into words, and then to sentences. So this is a technical aspect, while the other the story track is conceptualization, learning, and comprehension. So these are some materials we use for it. This is one example of the Somali story we use, and the other is the lesson plan. Uh, the course book, the important thing is that the course books, whether which are stories, which is the primers, and which are the general ethic books or the social and cultural books. So we focused to focus the local culture, the home environment, the environment of the child to be used at their pedagogical setting. So we focus on their cultural aspect and their the daily usage, what they encounter in their daily life. So pictures and the stories, the folktales, all were used from the Torwali culture, mostly from the Torwali culture, because you know that the idea is that their pre-learning is connected with the new learning, and the other word, their home culture is connected with the school culture, so as to remove the gap between these two things as and the usual system we see. So this is, here is the sample example of the primer. So the primer is based on phonics and phonemic awareness and all these aspects. You can see that from the phoneme, they can go to the syllable, and from the syllable to the word, and then the otherwise. So word building and word breaking, phonemic awareness, then the phonics, and then the sentence building, and the reverse of this method as well. So we developed these courses as per the dominant educational theories behind them, especially the IBNH 6 discourse models, which is very in my sense, which is very useful for teaching reading and writing, or in other words, teaching literacy. So this was the, that as I told you, the language never operates in isolation. It is very well integrated with other aspects of the human life. So along with having our language in the educational system, uh, as far as we can, privately, these schools are private. We have also started to celebrate the abandoned culture, which was used before 4 decades ago, but now people have abandoned that. So we have tried to revive those cultural events and those music, dancing, traditional games, etc. We started holding cultural festivals in the communities, and through this cultural festival, there's a sense of identity, a sense of belonging, and a change in the linguistic attitude of the people towards their language has changed, because in a post-colonial setting too, we see that the endangered community people, they usually see their language inferior, their culture inferior. They don't regard them to be equal to any other so-called high culture language. So this way, they, there is an apathy found among these endangered communities speakers about their languages. So by holding cultural celebrations, by holding musical events within the community, one can change the attitude of these people towards their language, and they regard it valuable, and it gets prestige as well. Prestige when, by developing literacy, the language automatically gets prestige, while celebrating culture, the people develop sense of belonging, sense of ethnicity and identity. So we also started, along with educational materials and using the language in education, we also started the celebration of culture among the community, so as to instill a sense of self-esteem among those people. And for the larger communities, that along with the cultural oral activities, so we have also started producing literature in their language. So this is one of the most effective tools, that when people see their language written, they get proud, they feel proud, because written word has the prestige over the oral word, unfortunately, though it is. So we have started producing uh, reading materials for the general public by producing literature in there, by documenting the oral literature of the language, for instance, for folklore, folk poetry, and folk tales, and making and publishing books and distributing those books among the communities free of cost. So these are, you can see the two pictures here, Inan and Inan Dome. Inan is one of a collection of our Torwali poetry translated into Urdu. We published it 7 years ago, and now the second edition we publish it now. Along with those, we also try to you can see these are the other books, the Urdu, English daily usage conversation, Torwali folk tales translated into Urdu and English, and the also dictionaries for children as well as for the researchers and scientific community as well. So these are materials, and this year, I mean, in January and February, we have published 7 books. Uh, 5 books are already published, and 2 are in the printing press now. You see, we have translated 3 biographies of our national Pakistani heroes like Muhammad Ali Jinnah, Allama Iqbal, Fatima Jinnah. So these short biographies were translated into Torwali, and they were distributed among the students of grade 8 and beyond, free of cost. And these are based on various books available in Pakistan. And along with that, we also published an anthology, a collection of poetry by a poet. And this is the first collection of a poet of Torwali, which we have published here in the name of Kashmala. Uh, and the other book, the Sarbulan, is that we are also working for networking, for educating, for making all the mountain communities of northern Pakistan so as to get political and social and epistemological power. So we have also published a journal which has more than 40 research papers in it, and this is in Urdu. So it is in the printing press now. So by using the language within the educational community, educational setting, then in the larger setting, and then developing its prestige among the dominant communities like Pashtuns and like in Urdu in Pakistan and internationally as well. And also, that we have seen that wherever there is Indian danger language spoken, usually the women of the community are more related to their culture, and they are more in their culture. So we have started mother tongue based bilingual literacy project. Bilingual means Torwali and Urdu literacy project for the adult women. So you can see the classes here for women who have been busy and learning their language, literacy of their language as well as of Urdu. So this is for women, and as I told you, there are though our schools are up to grade third now, but we have also developed course books for other grades up to grade fifth as well. So as to distribute free, of course, among some of the students of the state-owned schools, and motivate the state-owned schools teachers to, if they can, if there is a room, so they can also teach these books to the children, and they are doing. Some of those children, those teachers now teach those subjects as well. And as I told you that endangerment of a language is a mix of because of a mix of many factors. It is because of the social, political, and educational marginalization of the community, exclusion of the community from the social development. So we have also started campaign to increase the general education, access to education among the communities in the areas, because most of the mountain areas they don't have enough schools for girls, for boys as well, and for higher education. So we have also started campaigns for doing it, and this is, that this type of work has given a trust to us from the people, because they think that we are not only focused on one aspect of our endangered language, but we are overly focused for their well-being, their general development as well. So we have also started the similar campaigns for social development, for environmental conservation, and for physical development as well, for infrastructure as well. And one of the challenges we face is that as it is now a digital age, so we didn't have any keyboard for writing the language on social media. So we, with the support of Google, we developed an Android mobile phone keyboard for the Torwali language. You can see the picture here with a screenshot of that keyboard. So now there are many youth, young people, and who are among them many are poets, singers, and activists. So they write their language on in their news feeds and so on social media, especially on Facebook. And we, along with that, we have multiple channels on YouTube for the Torwali music and Torwali culture, and these channels are increasing day by day. And using the WhatsApp groups, so we have different groups of poets, singers on the WhatsApp, and they share their poetry, their singing among the members on those WhatsApp group as well. So, uh, in conclusion, I would say that um, there is, that whenever our lesson we have learned that when you are to develop, revitalize a language, um, in endangered language, so you have to adopt a holistic approach, a holistic thing, because you cannot focus on only one domain. So you have to use the language in all other domains, the children in homes, in schools, in the general community, and you have to strengthen the community by writing, by producing literature in the language, so as to so that the language should be strengthened from within. So this way, I think an endangered language can be best revitalized. So here is a short uh, documentary on the program of the MTBMLE program. So I will not play it. I think there is no time. If there is time, you can also click it. The link is given there, and I think Amanullah has also the link. So here I will end my talk, my haphazard representation, because of the it is haphazard because of the technical issues we faced in starting the presentation. I tried my best, and then Amanullah tried their best, but you know that we have to rely on technology, and technology very often doesn't help us. So these were a few points I have had to make, and I hope there are a number of questions from the participants. So I will be pleased if there is a question you can ask. And Amanullah can play the short documentary if there is time, so he can do that. Thank you so much.
Thank you so very much, Subir Saab. It was quite insightful. Yes, you're right. We had, some of these technical issues as you and me both belong to these far remote areas where, we face technical issues, and it's quite common here. But then somehow we manage. And thanks for sharing your experience and expertise of how you did this research and revitalization process. So, first of all, I would ask how do you sensitize the communities towards language? How do you do this? The work of language sensitization.
Amanullah, you know that it is a general finding out of all linguists and language activists working around the world that because of the colonial kind of path and kind of attitude, people of the community of the endangered language communities often don't regard their language as they should. And this is very common among the Torwali communities as well. But you know that when you focus only the language, I mean language, only the language, developing the language or promoting it, people will not support you. You have to integrate many other things. As I you culture is a celebrating culture is a very good tool to do that, and also developing some identity among the communities. So we 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 developed, we reclaimed the Torwali identity in the as well, and also doing some research in the past histories, because one of the tragedies with these endangered communities is that their past histories has been erased. They don't know who they are. So that's we have also tried to uh, uh, dig out the past history and then communicate it to the people. This way, first they got a sense of self-esteem, a sense of identity, a sense of a love of their culture. So automatically they will come to the work for their language.
Okay, so
Thank you,
thanks
Adam.
very much. Yes, I'm monitoring the questions on Facebook, and Shushan asked us, "Thank you for your hard work. My question is, to what extent Torwali is considered endangered in the classification of a world language endangerment?"
Okay, it's a very nice question. You know that the UNESCO Atlas of the Endangered Languages published in 2010 included Torwali is you know that is not critically endangered but endangered. Uh, but you know that there has never been a survey by any Pakistani institution, say a university, to measure the endangerment of these languages, not only of Torwali but all other languages. As far as I can say that we have brought it out of the endangerment category to some extent. It is now on the upper reach of the endangerment. So it is still endangered, but we if I can say carefully that we have dragged it to the brim of the well where the endangered languages are laying. So there is the danger is still there. If we leave the work, so it will slide back to the bottom of the well. But if we keep working on, we can bring it out of that level.
And Zubair Sab, could you share some of your experience about this MTABLE, curriculum and integrating mother language into, education?
MTBMLE, mother tongue based multilingual education, you know that it is a trilingual educational model. So where the mother tongue is used as a language of instruction, a language, a medium of instruction. Uh, 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 for the first, you know that it is usually it is a preschool program, so you have to start from very preschool program. So for the preschool 2 years, all the subjects are taught in the mother tongue. while later in the third year, uh, uh, Urdu and English, in our case, are added to the teaching and learning materials through a system. First orally, then their literacy. So there is a language progression plan. You can say language sequencing of languages, how to add and where to add and when to add a language to the pedagogical system. So this MTBMLE system is basically a trilingual three-language model, which is, in our case, I think Torwali is used in the pre-school grades. Then after that, the Urdu and English are added, but Torwali is maintained as the language medium of instruction and that up to grade fifth. We are now in the on this stage, in the stage of grade third. We will go on with the same pedagogical system as MTB is. It is, that it primarily it was started. This MTB model in the world was started some 20 years ago by some good UNESCO, along with some other international organization in Africa, in Philippines, and other different parts of the world. So it was, that it is successful to some extent, but again, in our case, the only hurdle we feel is that it is, in a way, an early exit model. So if you cannot maintain the mother tongue teaching up to grade fifth or grade eight, so there is a danger that the model will not deliver what you expect.
Thanks very much. That's wonderful. And I also remember, watching a few days ago a webinar on this model by TCA, the work they have done. So they are also, doing it, and it's quite successful there. So we have question from Meg Vilas, and sir, what do you suggest the role of a teacher for the protection of such endangered languages?
Yeah, I think role of teacher as well as role of parents. These are very crucial roles. When parents stop talking their language to their children and at homes, so we can say that language will well fade away. And if teachers stop teaching or talking or speaking the mother tongue to the students they have in their schools, so the automatically the danger is that education is the formal education. The formal education model in Pakistan is very much based on assimilating other cultures, other ideologies as well, other languages as well. So the danger is that if teacher doesn't speak the mother tongue with the students, they will shift to other languages. But in our case, you know that some 10 or 11 years ago, we had many primary school teachers who were from outside the dominant communities, and they had to speak Pashto with the students, and there were hurdles for them because the students didn't know any word of Pashto, while the teachers didn't know any word of their mother tongue. So there was a gap, and many teachers would come to us lamenting about this thing. But afterwards, when the educational recruitment policies were changed, so many local teachers were recruited, and now we see that almost 90% of the teachers in the primary and the state-owned primary schools are Torwali speakers in the community. So they they have to they if they don't want, but they still have to talk in the mother tongue to the children because the children do not know Urdu or English. There are there are some snobbish behaviors on the part of the so-called private English medium private schools. There are a few, say three, four schools in the community. Majority of them they speak Urdu with their teachers speak Urdu to the students. This almost the schools are so-called English medium, but you know that they don't have the capacity to speak English as it should be. So they instead of doing that, they talk speak Urdu with their students. But there are some cases in these schools as well. And the grade 10th and 9th, I have seen teachers explain science in the mother tongue because there are no other ways. You cannot explain science in Urdu, so they have to do that. So the teachers and as well as the roles of parents are very crucial. But you know that the challenge for us is that in the state-owned primary schools, there are no books in the mother tongue. And government, we have been trying to pressurize, to convincing the government of the province to include our language at least as a subject in the primary schools.
That's great. I hope it will be possible in coming days and coming years. And we have another question. Siswoyo, sorry if I am pronouncing your name wrongly. He says, how far does the culture influence the Torwali language? Are there any levels in Torwali language?
You mean academic levels?
I think so.
So yeah, you know that the when you develop the course book, so you have to adopt different levels. So I think we have developed the course book for the for the
Saab, I think we have lost you due to your internet connection. Sorry for the technical difficulties. And Zubair Tabali comes from Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, Swat area. Yes, he's back.
uh, yeah, I think there are levels. As I told you, producing the literary materials, we have this month we have published the three biographies of the very our heroes. So these biographies are translated into Torwali, keeping in mind the grade 6 and grade 12 students. The from grade 6 to 12 students. And beyond that, we have this, that this the other books. Some of them are for general readers within the Torwali people, and some are books which are used by very very literary people, Urdu literary people in Pakistan as well. And uh, uh, we have this categories of literature producing and also the teaching material as well. So for grade nursery, the level is different. For grade the other grade, the level is a little bit higher, then it goes higher and higher. So there are different levels, and now I think we can say that there is academic Torwali and there is general Torwali and there is Torwali for the children.
Great, Zubair Saab. So I don't see any other questions here. Let me monitor the chat again. And thanks for your explanation. A lot of thanks for your session and appreciation. My suggestion is that for teaching and learning to be protected, let's use our native language and local languages from all teaching subjects with our mother tongue. So how do you see this coming? Definitely agree.
across many difficulties. How to use the currency. There were political terms. There were many new terms. And everyone was within the Torwali context. So we put those words instead of the very technical Urdu or English ones. And I think complaint people of endangered languages always make is that, oh, many things, many technical or highly academic things can't be written in our languages. I think that this is a superficial view, superficial in the way when you go deeper and deeper, and when you dig out the very from the real people, I mean from the real who speak the endangered language in a pure form, so you can find different words for highly academic terminologies, and you can say as etymology of English words or many other words can tell us that these words, which are now very highly academically contextualized, they were used very simple when
Zubair Sab, if I can interrupt
they were
you,
used.
there is, a bit problem with your sound, so it is a bit low.
I don't know why. Now, hello.
Yep,
It's okay now.
I can hear you, but it's low, and we are slightly of the time, so we'll wrap it up here. Thanks for sharing your
Okay,
insights,
okay.
experience, and research. If someone is interested in watching this, or if you missed this session, you can watch on Teacher Development Webinars YouTube channel. The recording will be there, available there, and you can always join our social media groups for information about further webinars. We'll be doing this series of International Mother Language Day webinars. So I hope to see you in the next webinar. For now, let me remind you that COVID-19 is not over yet. So please be responsible for your lives, for your loved one lives, and keep following these standard protocols. Stay safe, everyone. Bye bye.